What's up guys, it's your boy Pau here once again for another episode of Is It Worth Buying, and today we're gonna be covering Mundfish latest action shooter called Atomic Heart. Now, if you're a big fan of alternate history just like myself, then I'm pretty sure that you're definitely gonna love this game in terms of visuals and its theme. I mean, the game was set during the post-World War II where the Soviet Union reigned supreme thanks to the game-changing tech they have found some years back called the polymer. And this gooey water slide thingy has allowed them to be in the forefront of various technological breakthroughs, especially in the fields of energy and robotics. From the opening minutes of the game, Atomic Heart drags you along the seemingly peaceful utopian version of the USSR where humans and robots coexist within the confines of the gorgeously designed flying cities. But as you're chilling in mid-air doing an aerial tour of the motherland, a distress call comes in signaling that the once submissive friendly bots you got there below suddenly became haywire, and they began doing their own version of quote-unquote population control. And what I mean by that is that they're just having a good old-fashioned killing spree. Playing as Major Sergei Nechayev, or better known as P3 to his comrades, you'll be investigating the bloodbath that happened at Facility 3826 together with your glove AI named Charles, who will serve as your personal assistant throughout your journey. Now, just like how it's advertised, Atomic Heart is an FPS action shooter at its core, but little did I know that I'm gonna be doing more stuff, aside from just repeatedly tapping the left click button until Kingdom Come, which I originally expected. And what I mean by that is that the game is swamped with puzzles. And take note, this is not just your ordinary jigsaw puzzle or any kiddie puzzle, but these are security puzzles that unlocks doors or areas that could lead to quest items, which mostly require logic and usage of a couple of brain cells. Now, I really don't have problems dealing with some of it, like the timer lock apparatus, the color switching thingy, and this ball in a maze puzzle. But what really grinds my gears is those laser-based puzzles, which actually gets even harder once you progress further. And there are also platform puzzles which requires you to be eagle-eyed and sometimes bold and creative, as you need to cross huge gaps and take long leaps with little margin of error. Anyways, let's leave those puzzles for a sec and let's now move over to the most exciting part, which is the robot smashing part. The game's combat mechanic is pretty solid for an FPS game. I mean, you got the melee staples such as axes and maces, the mid-range favorites like the shotgun and the AK-47 assault rifles, and when it gets really dirty, you can bring out the granddaddies of destruction to put the hostile bots in their place. Now, speaking of which, I initially thought that the androids in this game are just chill, that I can just cruise control my way through stages without getting some hard bumps along the way. However, I learned my lesson the hard way from the get-go, cause these bots don't know the word chill at all. Since they're programmed in combat mode, these bots will just mindlessly lunge towards you non-stop, and most of them require multiple hits before you can finally shut them down. Now, I said most of them them because there are a bunch of different enemy bots in the game. I mean, first you got the normal robot that has the Freddie Mercury mustache, then you got the laser firing Bruce Lee black robot. Then once you get past that, things just get weirder, nastier, and even freakier with these zombie biohazard robots, or what I personally call a zombots. And then we're gonna get back with the Freddie Mercury robot, only this time he got a shield and lightning attack. Then mechanical combat machine comes in, so as the whirling bird bots. And what's worse about all this is that there are times where the zombots and the regular robots attack all together, which is a huge pain in the butt. And before I almost forget, the boss battles are pretty tough too, in case you might ask. Now, shooting and hacking the baddies alone won't do the trick if you want to survive in the Soviet hellhole. And this is where your buddy Charles comes in handy. By gathering neuropolymers from the remains of your enemies and rummaging through the drawers and cabinets across office rooms, you can purchase various skills in the game's skill tree system to hurt your enemies, like shocking their system so they'll be temporarily paralyzed, freezing them, or lifting them up and throwing them to the ground as if you're Magneto or something. Now, on top of this, there are also personal boosts that you can avail, such as increasing your health, speed, and damage resistance. And same as the skills, you can upgrade your weapons by getting different resources from your enemies and surroundings. Anyways, after immersing myself from 15 to 18 hours in total, I would say that if you specifically isolate the combat part alone, Atomic Heart is pretty solid as an FPS game, even though it's obvious that it has some Bioshock elements splattered onto it. I mean, even though the boss and creatures are tough as nails, I really enjoy the hard-hitting smash mouth type of challenge that they bring. And there are times that I grind my teeth out of frustration because I can't get past the boss stage or against a certain enemy. When the combat mechanics are good, the same thing can't be said when we talk about the game being flooded with puzzles. Don't get me wrong, I kinda like that they have something else to offer aside from smashing robots' heads, but I think that they kinda overdo the puzzles part on this one. I mean, after you solve a certain door puzzle, the game will give you another one a couple of minutes later. And if it isn't like that, there will be a platform puzzle obstacle that you need to solve in order to advance. Plus, the game is also filled with fetch quests, which can be tedious and annoying at times. Now, in terms of resource management, I kinda like the grinding aspect where you have to loot and accumulate tons of resources before you can make some upgrades. But what I don't like here is that you need to acquire recipes first before crafting a weapon or a consumable. In my experience, I struggled in the early game because even though I already had a ton of AK-47 bullets, I wasn't able to use it since I don't have the Kalash blueprint in my possession just yet. And the annoying part here is that I was only able to acquire it during the latter part of the game where I'm about to reach the end. Although I was really engaged in the narrative at the beginning, I kinda lost track when Charles began babbling very detailed information about the backstory while I'm under heavy fire or whenever I'm engaged in combat, which is quite disappointing given that the game's concept and underlying themes. Although the narrative wasn't able to keep me engaged for the long haul, the overall aesthetics of the game salvaged the mediocre storytelling. Atomic Heart delivers an eye-popping visual like no other, from the huge sprawling cities down to the tiniest details, and aside from the graphics, the music and the game soundtrack were also on point as well. As I mentioned, I really enjoyed playing it from the combat perspective, but overall, I think they could have done a better job in rectifying the little flaws and make sense to the things that doesn't make sense, like why is P3 sarcastically talk with a perfect American accent while his comrades don't? Anyways, that's my take on Atomic Heart, and be sure to also share your experience by putting your comments below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel to keep up with our latest releases. And with this said, this has been Pao, signing off for now.